What's going on? Welcome back to another video, a continued video from a series we're doing where we help you design your own meal plan. With this information, you're going to be able to understand the basics of what you need to know to design a meal plan to help you get to your goals. And that's whether it's going to be weight loss, adding muscle, or just enjoying life and being healthier. So, we're going to go ahead and get this video started. But first, I need to ask you, please hit the subscribe button. This is a small channel and we're trying to grow, trying to get the word out, trying to help people be healthy and get to their goals faster. And well, as a small channel, that's a little bit of a challenge, but with your help, we can grow and we can keep this thing going. So hit the subscribe. Also, leave a comment in the section. Let me know you're here. This video is going to be about protein. So the question I want you to answer in the comment section is, what's your favorite protein source? Mine personally is a good ribeye steak, preferably medium well. It doesn't even matter if there's onions or mushrooms or any of the extra stuff. So, like I said, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite one? All right, so into this video, and I know you have heard so much about protein. It's probably one of the most common words in the health and fitness industry. Protein this, protein that. What is protein? You need more protein. Eat this much protein or stay away from protein. Let's talk about protein and figure out where does it fit into your meal plan, your life, and your just how does it work for you and why should you be concerned about it? All right, so first we're going to start talking about what is protein because, well, if you don't know what it is, why should you know what it's going to do for you? So, protein is a series of amino acids that are combined to be a protein. And these amino acids are called they're considered like the building blocks of life because they're in every major function that happens in the body. There are 20 amino acids. However, there's a few of them that are essential and your body cannot produce it on its own, meaning you need to eat it. And we'll talk about those later, but just be aware that proteins are, like I said, just amino acids. And once you eat those proteins, it goes through digestion. And that's what's happening in the stomach and the gut and the intestine is breaking down into these amino acid chains and gets distributed through the body where it needs to go. So that leads us into the next section of, well, what is it for? So what is protein used for in the body and why should you be concerned about it? I am sure that you've heard that protein is useful for muscle building, and that is a true statement. And that's not all it's for, but let's talk about the muscle aspect of it first. Protein is vital for muscle building and muscle repairing. Everybody needs muscle, regardless of how big or how visual they are or how strong they are. You still need muscle because, well, daily movement requires muscle. Muscle equals movement, and movement equals life. Next, understand that protein can also be used as a fuel source, an energy source for the body. Oftentimes, we think about carbs or sugars being used as energy, and that is true, but the body can still break down protein and use it for energy sources if need be. Now, you don't want to be in that situation where you need your protein for an energy source, but understand that protein is also an energy source that the body can turn to when it runs out of other fuel sources. The body uses protein to help strengthen the immune system and keep that running. For example, proteins and amino acids are used to help create antibodies in the body. And as we know, antibodies are what helps fight off infections in the body. So, again, imagine if your immune system is compromised, how rough would life be? I mean, you'd get sick more often than you should. Protein is also very, very important in hormone production. Hormones such as testosterone, estrogen, insulin, leptin, and ghrelin, and so many other hormones need these amino acid chains in order to be produced. And when any of these hormones are out of balance or not regulated properly, well, we start to see problems show up throughout our body and our life. If your testosterone is too low, you may experience depression. You might lose that drive and that will to push, not just in the gym, but just in life in general. Same thing. If you are lacking insulin production, you are going to have issues with blood sugar. If you're leptin and ghrelin, those are the hormones responsible for signaling hunger and fullness. In other words, again, amino acids are so vital for the entire body. So the next question you probably have is, what are some good sources of protein? And to answer that question, let's break protein up into two different groups. We're going to call group one complete protein sources. These are protein sources that, when you eat them, they have all of the what's called essential amino acids, the 9 amino acids that your body cannot create on its own, and it needs to get those amino acids from food sources. Once it has those 9 amino acids, it can create the rest of the amino acids that exist. This makes complete protein sources very efficient in terms of getting the most bang for your buck. You eat all of your essential amino acids, that generally covers you for your entire amino acid pool. You can typically find complete protein sources in things like animal proteins such as red meats, chicken, fish, eggs, and dairy products. Now, the second group of protein that we're going to talk about would be called incomplete protein sources. Now, don't confuse the word incomplete and think that it means that they're bad protein sources. All incomplete protein sources are protein sources that are missing one or more of those essential amino acids. Some of these protein sources may include things like nuts, seeds, and even beans or rice. Now, since these protein sources are missing an essential amino acid, what you can do is begin to combine different proteins. So, for example, rice protein and pea protein would create a complete protein meal overall. So you'd end up getting all of the so you would end up getting all of the essential amino acids, just you need to get it from multiple different sources. So let's take a moment and consider our friends that don't eat meat. We still invite them to the cookout, but they have to bring their own stuff. What are the options for people that are vegan or vegetarian? And it's going to be challenging, I'm not going to lie, but it's still possible to get all of the essential amino acids. You're just going to have a variety of protein sources. Some common vegetarian slash vegan options are things like nuts, seeds, beans, rice, tofu, and tempeh. Now, there are a couple of options out there for vegans slash vegetarians that are complete protein sources, and those would be quinoa and buckwheat. They do have all 9 of those essential amino acids. Now, a couple of things to understand about these protein sources is, if you think about what they are, most of them have a high carb source attached to them. So that's something that you'll need to be mindful of if you are, especially if you're trying to lose weight and trying to control how much carbs you're eating, or if maybe you're a diabetic, you need to be conscious of this. So you'll see, for example, beans. The beans has proteins in them, but it also has a lot more carbs attached to them. Nuts, on the other hand, they also have protein, carbs, and fats attached to them. So some of these protein sources you just have to be mindful of and make sure that they're fitting into your diet. But we'll get into that stuff later. Another thing to watch out for is these incomplete protein sources typically have a lower quantity of protein per serving size. So in other words, you'd have to eat a lot of beans in order to get the right amount of protein that you need. So how much protein do you actually need? So I'm going to give you 2 ways to figure out what your daily protein requirement would be. The first way, which I like, and it seems to be a little bit more accurate, and it's definitely based off of the scientific literature, and that is you eat 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So that would look like, as a 200-pound man, you would eat 160 grams of protein every day. The second way that you can figure out your protein requirement is taking 30 to 35% of your daily calorie expenditure, and that should be your protein amount. So, if, for simple math, if you ate 3,000 calories daily, well, 1,000 calories should come from protein sources. That would mean 1,000 calories should come from protein. So, what's the conversion for protein to calories? Well, per gram of protein, there is 4 calories. So, for 1,000 calories, you would need to have 250 grams of protein to be pretty accurate with your 3,000 calorie daily intake. Now, I know you've probably heard those numbers and been thinking those protein numbers seem absolutely high. And I get it, especially considering as Americans, we tend to undereat in protein sources and overeat in carbs and fats. Understand that protein in a healthy body will not do any damage. Now, if your kidneys or liver are damaged, definitely follow what your doctor is telling you. But understand, even up to, I believe it was 2.2 grams of protein per pound body weight, is still shows no signs of damage in the scientific literature. So that would look like that 200-pound man eating, what does that come out to? 440 grams of protein every day. All right, so let's recap and get all of the facts out just real quick.